Bernstein Show. Now, here's Ed.
Hi, welcome to our show. Joining us today is Nancy Brune, a dedicated leader. She's focused on strengthening our community, addressing key issues across the city. Councilwoman Brune, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ed.
Pleasure to have you back.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
And you've been a busy council person.
Yes, we've had a lot of groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings and town halls, so always working.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to talk, because I didn't talk to you much last time we spoke on the show about your background. Because you have kind of a really bipartisan background, and you've worked with Democrats, Republicans, did a lot of work with Kenny Gwinn when he was governor, right? Or after he was, with the Gwinn Initiative, after he was governor.
Correct. So prior to running for office in 2022, was the first time I had run, 13 years ago, I founded and led the Kenny Gwinn Center for Policy Priorities.
And what does that mean?
It's the state's only bipartisan policy center, and we named it after Governor Gwinn because you probably remember he would say, I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, I just want to work with whoever wants to move Nevada forward. And so the center really did adopt that mantra, and I actually ran for city council because it's nonpartisan. And so, you know, and the work over the last few years has just affirmed that at the local level, potholes, public safety, traffic issues, they're not partisan. They are just issues
that we need to get solved.
Problems that their community needs and community problems, and we're just trying to solve them.
Which is a much better idea than bickering back and forth in partisan politics.
Yep.
And you're right, Governor Gwinn was the epitome of a nonpartisan politician, if there's such a thing, I guess there is. He did it, and he was beloved by everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, he really set a good example. Unfortunately, it's not present much today. Right?
Well, I think we have a great city council. We're all working together in a really harmonious way. We get along, so it's a great place to be right now.
The mayor has told me the same thing.
Yes.
That
and you
she
feel
really,
it.
That she really likes working with everybody on the city council, and everybody is working in the same direction. Let's fix problems.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I actually, just to share a little story, there was a business owner, Ward 6 business owner. She had an issue before City Council. She is very conservative, and she attended because her application was, came before us. And she said, I've never been to a city council meeting before, but what was clear from just the dialogue and everybody's engagement is that everyone on the dais truly cares about the city. And so it actually being there restored her faith in local politics.
Why is it that things can work locally and they don't seem to work on a national level?
That is a great question. I think we've just become so much more partisan. Like 30 years ago, things kind of worked better. We didn't have as much partisan gridlock at the national level, and I think, just the parties have become more entrenched. It's viewed as like a zero-sum game, and so there doesn't seem to be any value in actually reaching across the aisle and working together.
Yeah.
The incentive structure is all off.
Well, it's a good thing that the local stuff is still working.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And you went to Harvard?
I did.
Wow. And what's that like?
Very different. I grew up in Texas where it's warm and humid, so adjusting to the cold winters and being so far away from home took some time. I was very homesick my first year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the competition must be very intense there.
Yes, especially these days. Yeah.
So let's talk about the city.
Yes.
Because when you were elected, you had a lot of goals in mind. Which of those things, what were some of those goals, and which are some that you've accomplished?
Well, I ran on one of my goals was to right-size public infrastructure. And what I mean by that is when I was knocking on doors, we have grown so much in the Northwest, as you just shared before the camera started rolling, and the infrastructure hasn't kept up with that growth. And so one of the first things I advocated for when I got to City Hall was a police substation in the Northwest, because currently the closest area command to the neighbors on Kyle Canyon Road is at 215 in Cheyenne, and even the sheriff has admitted it may take an officer 25 minutes to respond to a call for service. And so by next quarter, we will have a new police substation at Grand Teton and Wallapai. I think it'll just, we are already the safest area in the city, but I think it'll just enhance and improve response times for our neighbors.
That's terrific and much needed. So
Yes.
let me ask you this: when we have a new police substation, what does the sheriff do? Does he have to hire more police, or does he kind of spread out the force? How does
I
that work?
haven't talked to him specifically. I think it'll be a combination of both. We know that in the latest Metro budget, he has allocated for, I believe, 6 to 8 new traffic officers. I would imagine some of them will be dispersed, and hopefully one will be at the Sky Canyon substation. And I know that we have a lot of Metro officers who currently work at other substations or area commands and are, very eager to hopefully sign up and come out to the substation in Sky Canyon because it'll be closer to home.
Yeah. That's terrific. I mean, you have one of the fastest growing wards.
Probably
Where
the-
exactly is your ward?
So the northern boundary is, just north of Kyle Canyon. We just approved a new master plan community just south of the Paiute Golf Course. So the city goes all the way up to the southern border of the Paiute Tribe Golf Course, down Decatur. Eastern Decatur is North Las Vegas. West is the city. My southern boundary is Lone Mountain, and then all the way up the 95, including Northern Providence and Sky Canyon.
You have to put some mileage on to canvas that
Yes,
ward.
and just so you know, we do not get reimbursed for mileage to drive back and forth to our ward. So
Well,
I put
that's
a
not
lot of
fair.
miles on my car, but it's an honor and privilege to serve the people of Ward 6.
It's a lot of miles to come.
It is.
It really is. And you worked didn't you write at one time for the Nevada Independent?
I was
You-
a columnist.
You
Yeah.
enjoy writing?
I love writing, and I will tell you, I miss the data and the research in my current position. So I've been trying to pass some laws using the data and the research.
Right.
So trying to keep a hand in it.
So is it helpful though, with that writing background, when you're trying to create a
Definitely.
new ordinance or rule? Yeah.
Our legal team usually does most of the
Mm-hmm.
writing, but I think just the research and the thinking that goes into thinking what's the right ordinance or what do you think the impact will be.
Right. And we have an election upcoming,
Yes.
right? This would be the second time you've ran.
Yep.
You ran 4 years ago, and you got to run again.
Yep.
Right. So, how is it different today than it was 4 years ago running for election?
In terms of
In terms of what you're seeing in the community, what your thoughts are, is it more aggressive, more partisan, or even though you're in a nonpartisan race, is it?
I think, yes, I do think it's more partisan. I have found just on a very grassroots level, it is rare that I actually speak to someone at the door. I am knocking on doors. Last time I spent a lot of time talking to Ring, but I think even now more so, people are so used to hearing the ring and thinking it's an Amazon package, and so I'm talking to actually fewer people because I think everybody's just relying on Ring for that contact or to see who's at their door. But people are really engaged and interested. So it's been great.
But it must be so much more difficult to get your message out. I mean, with as people not answering doors, so it's hard to see them in person. With social media having so many different, parameters, and with people, so many TV stations, and I mean, it's so much clutter in everyday life. It's really hard to get a message out, especially in a city council race.
Correct. I do think I now see sort of the power of incumbency. I've been working and holding events. We hold more events probably than many of my other colleagues, and so I think a lot of people now know me that didn't know me 4 years ago because we're out in the community so much. I've actually had a lot of Republicans, because I'm a registered Democrat, even though it's nonpartisan. A lot of folks have said to me, I didn't vote for you last time, but I'm really looking forward to voting for you this time because I see how committed you are to protecting our homes, protecting our property values, really, making Ward 6, a livable, safe community.
Yeah, I know. When I talk to other council people, it seems homelessness seems to be a huge issue in this city. I know it is downtown for sure. You have any of that kind of
Yes.
issue up in your
Yeah,
district?
and I think that's an indicator of just how big the problem has become, because when I've been in my home 20 years, the same home out in Ward 6, and obviously it's grown, but even 3 years ago it was rare that you saw someone, panhandling or encampments, and now we get calls probably weekly about an encampment that's popped up. And I will say we have a great relationship with our marshals and with Metro and with the city, so when neighbors call us, we call and we get it taken care of immediately.
And when you say to get it taken care of, what actually happens? I mean,
Well, so we, lots of different approaches. We can't force someone to receive services, but, we have been very successful. Actually, when we go out and clear an encampment, we ask people, we tell people you can't be living in the tunnels, and we chain the gate up and we connect people to social services. So sometimes they'll actually get in the city transportation with us and get connected to services. Sometimes they'll say, hey, I need a couple more days. So those are some of the conversations that happen.
Yeah, I know that because you and I have spoken about low-income housing, affordable housing in the past. I know that's a big item on your to-do
Yes,
list.
yep.
Right?
And we actually just had a groundbreaking or an opening of an Ovation property, Heirloom at Rome, 314 units just 2 weeks ago. And, they have built a beautiful community, and it's affordable. And so it's a really special place right there at Decatur and Rome. And so in Ward 6, we also have a community land trust project that's city land, county funded. And then in my role as chair of the Housing Authority, we probably built or have in the pipeline over 2,000 units of affordable housing.
Well, that sounds very encouraging.
Yeah, we have a great leader with the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority, Louis Jordan.
But there is a difference between, I guess, some difference between those people we're talking about, homeless, and the other category of people having affordable housing. I mean, there's maybe
there is a
different
difference.
category.
Yeah,
per se,
and
right?
I mean, it's a couple of years out, but we are hoping that the plan is for the Campus for Hope, which the state, the county, and the city with the resort corridor has NRA and some of the gaming properties have put $200 million into setting up a facility, the Campus for Hope, which will have over 900 beds, and that will help. To your point, some of those folks that may not be ready for home ownership or to move into a home yet. So it's like kind of a multi-pronged approach.
Yeah, and bicycle safety, I know, is another issue close to your heart.
Yes.
Look, I see these 10-year-olds riding bikes that are going as fast as my car sometimes, and there's not really a whole lot of regulation regarding them I guess the state would be responsible for that, right?
The state has some laws, but just last year, both the county and the city passed an ordinance trying to regulate the safe practice of bikes. So I know, for example, in the city, you cannot go more than 15 miles per hour in a city park or on a trail. You have to, reckless behavior like doing wheelies is not allowed. You can't go against the traffic. And so just reinforcing some of those behaviors, we adopted the county ordinance with Metro support. So we're trying to regulate the safe behavior.
I know when I speak to my physician friends in the emergency rooms, I mean, they're quite upset about it.
Yeah.
We have a lot of business
Yeah.
of broken bones and head injuries and all kind of road burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a good thing. It should require some sort of, this is just my thought, some sort of educational testing or driving safety testing.
Well, and I think that's a challenge, right? As parents are trying to get their kids off their computers and out of the house and enjoying
Right.
the outdoors. And we have a lot of bikers out in my area because we have so many open spaces. So totally understand, but I think parents, give it to their kid and forget, if the kid is not driving yet, doesn't have a driver's license, they actually probably don't understand the rules of the road. And so we're actually partnering with Metro on one of their first Tuesdays, the Northwest Area Command, to actually hold a meeting, a town hall, where we talk through the safety around e-bike, e-scooter use, and Metro will be there and we'll do demonstrations. We're going to play a pickup volleyball game with fire and police, just to get the young people out so that they can hear like how you can safely drive. We just want to keep people safe.
Yeah, not only the kids on the bikes, but the
Yes.
pedestrians also in
Yeah.
the area, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those bikes are moving at a quick, high rate of speed, and they're quite heavy.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to talk to you about the issue, when you do talk to your constituents, what are you hearing? What are they concerned about? Is it still potholes and zoning issues? Traffic?
Out in my area, we get a lot of calls about traffic issues. You know, we probably get a request every week for a new stop sign, a new traffic light. So safety definitely, road safety is definitely one of the top concerns. You know, my neighbors really do want to see more amenities. I know it sounds silly, but that's a big part of, you know, quality of life. I think neighbors want, you know, to essentially live, work, and play in a specific geographic region. And so, you know, I keep hearing, why do we have to go to Summerlin for a nice restaurant? And so, you know, we have the least amount of commercial, retail, and office space in Ward 6. So I do a small business breakfast every quarter where we bring in someone to talk about the economy, like a Guy Hobbs or Jeremy Aguero, and then neighbors, small business owners connect. The last time I actually rented a bus and took business owners who are very active in the Southwest who want to come to the Northwest. And I wanted to show them, here are the available pieces of land, here's where your bakery could go, trying to get people out to do business in Ward 6, because that is something neighbors really do want.
Is the challenge in that because the ward is so large geographically that it's hard to find a concentrated area that makes sense for a business to go into?
Well, I think right now, because we have the least amount of developed commercial space, a small business owner is looking probably for a shell or a retail space that's already built out. And so, you know, we really need kind of a bigger developer to come in, maybe build a retail pad. And we do have some of that going. I know Adam Corrigan's doing some great work up on Kyle Canyon. It's a couple of years out, but he's building his restaurant and then adding some retail spaces as well. So it's a slow process. It's taking a lot longer than I thought it would.
Yeah, I'm always in favor of new and better restaurants, right?
Yes,
New
yes.
thing, it really does change the
It
community.
really
a lot.
does. Just look at our downtown Las Vegas.
Yes,
Yeah.
look at
the Arts District and downtown.
Yeah.
So many vibrant restaurants popping up and bars and people walking. It's very different than it was, you know, even 3 or 4 years ago.
Right, and look, downtown we're doing a great job in expanding some of those businesses downtown, but the problem is when you do live in Summerlin or Henderson, it's getting to downtown with the traffic.
Yeah.
That seems to be the big issue.
Yeah.
You know, for
A
years.
lot of pain points there.
Yeah. I mean, for years we were waiting for the freeways to get wide. Now they seem like they got that part together. Now every other road is got rid. You must get complaints about that all the time.
We do, but I really do feel for Councilman Knudsen, because he's got like the Charleston, which is just, it's been challenging. So I feel for my urban counterparts.
What's the worst part of your job?
I think the worst part of my job is when we can't help someone. I mean, there are some issues, you know, maybe trying to get benefits from the federal government or something like that. I mean, we have a really good relationship with our congressional delegation, have been able to help, but sometimes it's kind of beyond, because we have a very, very small scope. The city council really does. We're not doing big policy, like Medicaid policy or insurance issues. And so I do feel powerless more often than I would like.
And what about medical services up in your ward? I mean, you have that big area by the Tenaya. Is that part of your ward?
Just short of that, but we do have, I mean, now I guess it's part of Ward 4. I did have the Centennial Hills Hospital.
Yeah.
We have we have a couple of quick cares, and so I haven't heard that that's a concern for our residents. I think we're pretty well served with access to health care. I'd love to have a medical office district, though.
Yeah. Just having doctor's offices nearby, so you don't have to
Correct.
drive that 20 minutes to get to a doctor's office.
Yeah, and then wait an hour.
That's the new normal, right? Always waiting. But hopefully the telemedicine concept will help a little bit in that. I don't know. I just think everything is working to reduce the quality instead of increasing it. We're not doing a good job of that.
Yeah.
I asked you what the worst part of your job. What's the best part of your job?
Helping people. And actually, I will say, I ran on a platform of really building community. And at the time, I felt, I know it sounds really Pollyannish, but I have been, since I was elected, holding a monthly community meeting. It's called Bocaditos with Brune. And, sometimes people come in to complain, but over the last 3 years, it's great to see kind of a core set of 10 to 15 neighbors. They just come in, they don't have a concern, they just want to connect with the other neighbors that they've met and just, have a community conversation and just chillax with their neighbors. And it's been really nice to see the fact that we have been able to build community. I helped a group start a neighborhood association. So little by little, we are building a community. And I like to say that our community, Ward 6, really is a place where neighbors take care of each other.
And it's one way to look at it, when you're developing, an area, you're kind of starting new and fresh. So you have an opportunity to create something positive.
Yeah.
Whereas you have an existing older community, it's already entrenched in their set ways, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I think the community there was I'm also recognizing there's already been a lot of great work going. It's a very connected community. I had heard before I took office that we are the most organized, we have the most number of HOAs, and so I think there was that people are already doing this, but it's nice to kind of walk into something where I can build on the amazing work that the community's already been doing. So that's why it feels like a real honor and privilege to represent the community.
It used to be that our municipal elections were held in the spring. A few years back, they changed that and coordinated it to November, which made sense.
It
that
definitely made
have all the
sense.
elections at the same time because the turnout was so poor in the spring.
Yeah.
But by the same token, when everybody else is running for election, getting back to that point of having it be difficult to get your message out. That creates so much clutter in all the media to try to, and information-wise, in getting that data out.
Yeah, although I think it's true, everybody knows sort of governor or thinks about governor or Congress. I think, asking the general person, even in my area, most people still don't know kind of who I am or what city council does or couldn't name their school board trustee or even probably their assemblyman. And so I think, unless there is just a natural drop off on the ballot for not just city council, but a lot of the other races as well.
Yeah. How many city council races are there this year?
There are just 3.
3.
And then Councilwoman Alan Polensky, she did not have an opponent, so she's already back in office, and so it's just Ward 2 and Ward 6.
What are some of the most important characteristics and traits do you think a county commissioner or a city council person should have?
I think being able to work with other people, because when you think about the legislature, you have 63 people. It's much more, I guess, microscopic in the county commission and the city council, where there's only 7 of us. And so, outsized personality issues, or if you don't get along with someone, that can really change the dynamic of the body. And I think we saw that in previous iterations of the city council, where a couple of members may not have gotten along very well, and it really disrupted kind of the whole dynamic. And as the mayor has shared with you, you can feel that we all like each other, we get along, we all have the same North Star in mind. And so again, I think having someone who's even-tempered, who's coming to it with the goal of helping the city and not their own sort of personal agenda.
You served on the city council when Carolyn Goodman was our mayor. Before that, it was Oscar. So it was a long time of Goodman mayors. Now all of a sudden we have, Mayor Shelley Berkeley. How do you see the difference, is there a difference in how the city council, how the hearings or the council meetings take place?
I don't see a difference sort of externally, except I think there's whenever you get a new person in, right, there's kind of a vibrancy. I mean, I think and Mayor Goodman, I mean, she's wonderful. I will say it feels like Mayor Berkeley is very hands-on. And again, she's only been in the office a year, and so she's fresh and energized. I mean, she starts her day at 7 o'clock and goes to every event and tries to answer or attend every request that is asked of her. And so she finishes at 9. She's very collaborative. She walks down to our office, she calls and checks in and says, what do you think about this? And so I think, again, she worked in Congress previously, and so I think that DNA of being collaborative and knowing you have to work with everybody and not count votes, but just kind of check in with people in order to get stuff done. She's bringing that with her, and it shows in the way that she's working with us. It's been wonderful.
When you talk about working with you, I mean, relationships are important when you're on a city council or a county commission. Right? Being able to have the trust and credibility and respect of your fellow council people. So when you come, you say, hey, this is important, you explain why, then there's some credibility behind it.
Correct.
Yeah, it's important. What are you looking forward to in the next term for yourself?
Finishing a lot of the projects that we've started. I quickly learned that you may have an idea, but it takes a lot longer than you think it will. Even the police substation was probably half a year delayed. We have a big regional park, sports park, that's been in the works probably for 5-8 years. We are just now getting funding for phase 1A, and there are, I think, 6 phases. And so what I thought would take 3 years, probably, especially because of Badlands, is going to take 10 years. And so I'd like to stick around just to see a couple of the groundbreakings. We just passed or approved probably maybe the last big master plan community of its kind, because we're running out of land, called Monument Hills up by the Paiute Golf Course. I'm hoping that we'll do some groundbreaking on that in the next term.
And you think that's a 10-year project?
No, I think we could break ground on some aspect of that, and then within the next term, next 4-year term.
Right.
So I'd love to be part of that.
But a project like that, I mean, you're planning for something already 10 years going forward.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and that's a really important project because it is a first of its kind model in the nation. In this master plan community, we're actually dedicating military housing. That's never been done before, and so we're really trying to support our Creech Air Force Base airmen and airwomen, and potentially Nellis as well. So we're excited.
Yeah, let's remember them, especially with Memorial Day coming up, right? Okay, so I think we got about 30 seconds left. Did I miss anything? Anything else you want to accomplish this next term?
No, great questions. It's been a great conversation. Thank you for having me back.
Well, I really appreciate your being here and sharing some of the things that you're doing at the City Council, because I think that what we do in the city and in the county is so important to everyday life, and so many of us are just unaware of what's going on in the city and in the county. That's our local government.
Yeah, we're kind of like the first line of defense, right?
Yeah.
When people have a problem, you call your city council person.
Yeah. So thank you for being here.
Thanks,
Nancy
Ed.
Brune, City Councilwoman. We'll see you next week.